Welcome to the It Gets Better Queer-a-thon. This is our year-end fundraising live stream and a safe celebration space for LGBTQ plus youth.
Grab a snack, get cozy, hop in the chat, and enjoy the stream. Hi, my name is Angelo. I am 16 from nowhere, Kentucky. And these are my friends that I have.
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm 16 and I'm from Los Altos, California.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm also 16 and I'm from the very unknown area of Los Angeles, California.
I never seen that
Whoever
before.
whoever knew of Los Angeles before. Anyways, you might be asking, who are these people? Well, we're Youth Voices. Now you may be asking, who are the Youth Voices? Well, the Youth Voices are a group of 8 queer youth activists working to spread the It Gets Better's mission to uplift, empower, and connect LGBTQ youth throughout the globe.
Now, you might also be asking, why are these people talking to me? Well, we've collected responses from It Gets Better's Tumblr, Instagram, and a survey we conducted to find questions that you didn't want to ask the queer people in your lives. Because there are no stupid questions. Like, hey, Andrew, when's the 4th of July?
I don't know. You tell me. When's the 4th of July?
Jay?
July 4th?
Oh my
Wow.
God! Okay.
Wow.
Oh my God, we got
Crazy.
it.
All right, going into our first question. Our first question is, when did you know you were queer and how did you feel you knew? Were you nervous to share that knowledge with your friends and your family? And how did it go when you shared it with whomever you chose to share it first?
I had
For
to
me?
come out. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. I had to come out twice because first in like 6th grade, I came out as bi, and then in like the end of 8th grade, I came out as non-binary. So the first time I came out, I was so confident in my parents' love of me that I was not worried at all, which is a privilege.
Yeah.
I love how that sentence makes it sound like something absolutely dire happened after. I'm fine. I'm still with my parents. Okay. And so I was laying in the bed and I call my mom in and I go, Mom, I'm bisexual. And she quizzed me. She said, Name 3 women you like right now.
That happened
I
to me
was not
too.
expecting that. I was scared, but she was like, evidently, she was just like, oh, okay. She just needed me to name 3 women for her security, I guess. Um,
I love that you treat it like when
then,
you see people wearing band t-shirts and they're like, name 3 songs.
exactly, it's like
Same
name
thing.
3 songs, and you're like, and then I came out to my mom again, and she was the first one I said to both times in the car. My flawless logic was, well, if we're both in the car, she'd either have to wreck the car to get me out of it, or things would be fine. So,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, and that's exactly what happened. I said, Mom, I'm non-binary. What? I want to change my name. I'm non-binary. I'm like not either. Okay, I'm just gonna drive us home. Okay. That's what you call cheating yourself out of any sort of real conversation.
Excellent strategy.
Yeah.
I actually, when I first came out to my parents, it was actually accidental. I kind of figured out I
Mm.
was trans while talking to my parents. I think
Oh,
they realized earlier in that conversation than I did. It was
that's
actually when I was
crazy.
asking for a masculine haircut. So I wanted to get my haircut short. And I was like, and my mom was like, oh, how short do you want it? I was like, short, like really short. She's like, okay, so like here? And I was like, no, more like here. And she's like, whoa, that's a pretty dramatic step. Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I want it to be really masculine. She's like, oh, what do you mean by masculine? And I mean like, oh, I want to look like a boy. And she's like, oh,
Huh.
like, oh.
Oh.
And then we kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm trans together, which was definitely an interesting experience. My parents are
That's
very supportive, so it was
yeah.
not an issue. But yeah, if I had the choice to actually kind of formally come out, I probably would have talked about it with my
Mhm.
closest friends because I had a lot of queer friends growing up, and I would have felt more comfortable talking to them first to kind of get their opinion before coming out to everyone. But yeah, overall, it was actually a pretty it was a better experience than I think if I had just like formally come out because by kind of figuring it out together, it really made it feel more like they were a part of the conversation rather than just
Mm.
springing upon them, hey, parents, I'm transgender, deal with it, you know? So I think bringing my parents into the conversation really kind of helped.
Uh-huh.
Oh. I had a very similar experience to Jay that I feel like people figured out before I did. That I was like, my mom, I distinctly remember in the car with her. This was like maybe the second or third time that I had brought up like the idea of me being a part of the LGBTQ community, because throughout my life, people had always, even like in like kinder first grade, people always try to assume, even before I was able to process things myself, because I was like under the age of 7 and people were still trying to like put ideologies and labels on me. So once I was able to like formally like grasp the idea of my identity and who I was as a person, that's when a little light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, they were right, which I kind of hated. Like I
Yeah.
was so against the fact that people like were able to like actually see who I was. When I in my head, I'm like, dang it, I wanted to be all mysterious. It didn't work. It didn't work out in that case.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, Andrew, I had a really, really similar experience with that.
Yeah.
You're talking about like not wanting them to be right. So from a very young age, you know, at first I was just a tomboy, right? But eventually, like
Yeah.
once I hit middle school, I started hanging out with all the masked lesbians. And I was
Mhm.
really, 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 really masked. And so people like automatically assumed I was a lesbian. And it was really interesting for me because
Yeah.
at first I didn't realize. But then I eventually looked around me and realized all of my closest friends were hyper masked lesbians. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
huh,
Yeah.
I think I like women. And then it was like,
Yeah.
hmm, hmm. And that was really kind of what helped me figure out I was trans. But yeah, definitely like people putting assumptions on me was definitely really irritating because you want them to be wrong. Like you want to
Yeah.
figure it out
It's,
on your own rather than be put into a box before you can figure out which box you're supposed to go in, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So then when I eventually came out to my mom, we were in the car and I kind of brought it up and she goes, "Girl, don't play I know." Those were her exact words. And we were just
Oh my
driving over.
gosh.
We were just
So
driving over.
funny.
Like, she's like, "Is water wet?" And
Okay.
she's like, your favorite TV show when you're like 3 was like Sophia the First. Don't even right now.
Oh, okay.
Like, so it was more that idea that I'm like, oh, I hate that people are right because I always wanted to be right. But
Yeah.
it turned out the way that it did. I'm happy with finally being able to like confidently talk about my labels. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm very adamant on that. I don't think you need to label yourself as a person. Just be who you are. You don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for me. And I don't like formally go around and just like say like how I identify to people, just because I feel like people don't, they're not entitled to that information, and whatever makes you comfortable in your skin and who you are is all you need to do, because you don't owe people an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that my parents were always, when I came out, they were very against, like, why are you calling yourself bi? Why are you calling yourself non-binary? That's unnecessary. People don't need labels. But, like, I feel like we can find a lot of community in labels if you want them. Like, there are some people who are like, don't label me. And, like, that's so cool for you, whatever. But, like, some people are like, I see this. I like this. I have people who can think like me and I can
Yeah.
talk to them about this issue because we all can fall under the same deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because labels can be really constricting, right? Like, for example,
Mhm.
the lesbian label, it just did not fit. Like, I thought I was a woman who liked women. Turns out I'm a man who likes men. Like, you know, like I had no idea, right? And it kind of did kind of put a limit on me. But on the other
Mhm.
hand, finding the trans label was really, really integral to me developing as a person and feeling more confident in my own identity
Yeah.
because finding the trans label was what enabled me to go online to find the trans community online to actually see, you know, it is possible to be a happy, successful, thriving trans person. And that was what really gave me hope for the future. So I think labels are something that should be optional, but should be available.
Yes, for
I
sure.
think the next question kind of, is a little bit about that,
Yeah.
like labeling kind of deal. What is the biggest obstacle you found your identity creating when you
Mm.
first came out? For
Mm.
trans people specifically, how did your identity shift your relationships? How did you overcome making people understand your identity is only a part of you and not all of you? It's very loaded. We started with the first part of that question. I think that the biggest part of me struggling with my identity was because I was non-binary, like gender
Yeah.
fluidity kind of deal. I still don't exactly cling to the idea of non-binary as neither or as both. I'm kind of like living La Vida Loca or whatever. Uh,
Yes, best way to put it.
Gender is living La Vida Loca. I put it on my
Yeah.
like application forms. But anyway, because like at first I'm like, okay, well, I'm just a demi girl. Like, and I'm using all these super obscure labels, like micro
Okay.
labels. I'm like, that's gonna be it. And then I'm just like, but honestly, I felt like I was trying to cling to the idea of being a girl as to not be too like
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
because I was already different enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm an arts kid where nobody cares about the arts. I'm bisexual in a space where everyone's homophobic. It's like I don't need to make myself any larger. But then I'm like, I kind of came to the realization I was like, who well, everybody cares, but like, do I care?
Yeah.
Can I'd rather put being myself above that. And so I was like, okay, middle, non-binary, genderqueer, get used to it. I don't care. So the people who dropped me, and they dropped me very physically. And I have friends that my boyfriend broke up with me, and then there are some people who don't like me so much that they literally like we used to be best friends, but now they will literally avert their eyes in the hallway,
Oh, I'm
which
so
I think
sorry.
yeah, no, it sucks, but I also think it's kind of funny because it's like you're
Okay.
scared of my
They're
face.
they're
Like
scared of
You're
the gay
scared of
they,
virus.
me.
They're gonna catch the
yeah,
gay
like
virus.
You're like,
That's it's
ooh,
crazy.
it's a gay
ooh,
virus. They're gonna cough on you, and then you're gonna
the
like
rainbow
women.
curse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
woker now, but honestly, that's fine
Yeah.
with me. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Angelo, I really love what you said about like everybody cares. That was like the one thing, like really that answering the question, the first thing that it says, what is the biggest obstacle you found your identity creating? I was very scared, especially living in a place that's so populated with people that are so overtly out there and already growing up in communities that I feel like I was introduced to LGBTQ spaces at a young age. Although I felt comforted, I still really worried about public societal expectations because I just feel like it's such an integral part, especially growing up as a queer youth,
Yeah.
questioning like your safety and especially what other people will think of you because perception matters just so much to almost the human experience, not even just queer people. So that was what was really nervous to me, but like nerve wracking to put it in better words. But I really think the opposite, that people don't care as much as you think, and it's really in your head. I mean, obviously you're going to find a few people that aren't the greatest and that you can drop out of your life, but you keep on going and you don't let other people make you feel that way because life is only what you make it. And really, if you just let that negativity draw you it's just going to make you want to close your spaces and not want to express your feelings. And being able to just articulate who you are and making realizing that the obstacle is just the perception you already have established in your head is the first step to that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely feeling that at first, and I think because of that, I actually kind of thought very similar to Angelo. I was like, oh, maybe I should just come out as non-binary. I was like, you are not non-binary. You are not non-binary. I was like,
I'm
okay,
like,
stop
no.
maybe I
playing.
should come out as a demi boy, and I'm like, you're not a demi boy. Like, you gotta just come out as a trans guy. Like, there's no
It's
other way
the
around it. You know you're gonna do it eventually. Like, I think making it more complicated or trying to hide what you are is just going to make it worse in the end.
Yeah.
Like, because in the end, your goal with coming out is always to be more comfortable in yourself. So if you don't
Mhm.
truly come out, or you come out but you feel like you're unable to fully express yourself, I feel like there isn't really a point, right? Like that's the entire point of being
Mhm.
out. And I think
Yeah.
it's really, really important to actually like fully accept yourself. And in terms of like my friends, and what was the biggest change in my relationships when I came out as trans, I would say male friends were definitely kind of awkward because I had like exclusively male friends until fourth grade. Then all my male friends dropped me because they didn't want to hang out with girls, but I also
Ooh.
didn't want to hang out with girls. So for like a year, I hung out with books and I got smart and lonely. And then I hung out with mass
Smart and
lesbians,
lonely.
and that was my
That's
middle
so
school
valid.
friendships.
Bro
I
found that happy medium.
got smart
Yeah.
and lonely. I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no,
Oh
but I
my
feel like
god.
also, for me, something that I use as a trans guy, is a lot of the time, like, if I'm walking around and people are just having conversations, they don't know I'm trans, I will like hear random people just bring up in discussions, oh, so what do you think about trans people? And they'll start saying this and that, and oh, I think this, oh, I think that, and just kind of discussing it in casual, like, debate. And there are a lot of ideas going around about trans people. So what I find
Mhm.
useful is to get to know someone, have them know me as a person,
Mhm.
and then hear that I'm
Then,
trans. That way
yeah.
they know
Yeah,
me as
yeah.
Jay, who is trans, rather
Because,
than the trans
yeah.
guy who is named Jay, right?
There's
Like I want the first impression to be me. I
Yeah,
think
I feel like when you hear there's a trans
there's a
among us,
trans
there's a
it's
among
like
us.
trans, there's a trans
there's
on
a
campus.
trans.
Yeah,
But
No,
like
there's yeah.
like we're just normal people.
yeah.
Like I mean,
There's such a preconceived notion that's like, if I was with a trans person, I'd know. I'd be able to identify them.
I know, I
They
know.
live
it's like
among
I
you.
can point
Look
them out
next
in
to
the
you. You
crowd.
don't know.
No,
Like
I
they
have
sound
had
so
multiple
stupid.
people say that exact thing.
Yeah,
Multiple of my male
they're like,
friends
I'd
have
know.
walked around being like, "Oh,
I know.
if I saw a
If I
trans
saw a
person, I
trans,
could spot them." Like, sure you could, bro.
and you're
Yeah,
just
sure you
like,
can. It's like being the imposter in Among Us. They're like, nobody knows how trans I am right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I think that gives us a great segue
Horrible
to the
people.
next question.
Yeah.
I'm 13 years old in a conservative household, and most of my school knows I'm gay. But regardless, I'm really scared of literally everything. I don't have any friends to talk about my gender identity or sexuality, and I don't know what to say or do or think.
Yeah.
That's really hard, and I'm
Yeah.
really sorry. That reminds me of one of my best friends now. He's come out as trans. He's on therapy right now, but like he was trans way before most people like figure that stuff out. Like
Yeah.
he's ahead of the curve.
Mhm.
And it's so complicated because I feel like I've lived an experience where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you think guys can wear nail polish? I'm gonna fight you. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, buddy.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. But
Yes.
like, I feel like it's so isolating. But where I found my peace when I was coming out is a lot of media escapism and a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
online
Yeah.
like community. Like, okay, guys, my name is Angela. Let's level real quick. I'm gonna level with you. I named myself after Nico D'Angelo, the openly gay
Yes,
character from
yes.
the Percy Jackson series.
Oh,
Wow,
Rick
crazy.
Rorty would love you. Yeah.
People, people like, oh, it's a lot of it is just coming to terms with it being fine, and then you kind of once you've made peace with yourself you can make peace with others.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so hard in an area like that because I've had to do that too, where there are just not people like the only like I'm a gay magnet, sorry, but like I am because I have colored hair and
Yep.
I'm gay
Yep.
online and I'm gay professionally. I'm a gay magnet, so people come to me with these questions and they're like, well, my parents aren't gonna like it, and I'm like, I hate to, I'm not telling you, nobody should cut off their parents because they're gay unless their parents start harming them. I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
please give your parents a shot, but I'd say right now, because you're 13, that's like a very delicate situation
Yes. 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 Yes.
too. Which we did get this from a social media. I don't think this was a survey question. So you've already have some of the tools there. So
Yeah.
I'd say find spaces on social media, role play communities, like written role play, like a novel. Those people are always down for gay people. I'll tell you now. So,
Yeah.
like, go find
No,
something
I love how you
creative to
phrase
do.
that. They're
Yeah, no,
always
I
down
definitely
for gay
agree.
people.
I was gonna say the same
Are
thing.
you down for gay people? That needs to be a
Uh-huh.
shirt. Hold
That
on.
does. Are you down for gay people?
Are you
Yeah.
down? Are you down
Yeah.
for the gays? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely I agree though. I think I also thought of online communities immediately because
Uh-huh.
one of the great things about the internet is you can find like even if you live in an environment that really kind of suppresses all, notions of queerness, you still have the internet. You still have so many online communities where you can be queer without necessarily coming out to people. So if you truly do not feel like you are comfortable coming out to your parents, or you do not feel like they will have a good reaction and you not feel safe, you do not have to come out. Do not feel forced to come out if you do not feel safe. In that case, I would say definitely like as a trans kid, going online, finding other trans people, being able to talk about my identity, that was so, so helpful for me. Like you talked about, like, I don't have any friends to talk about my gender or sexuality. I don't know what to say or do or think. Talk to people online. Trust me. There's so many different spaces where you can, and finding friends online is truly one of the best things you can do in that situation.
Yeah, Jay, I like totally agree with that. Online resources are great, and you find so many amazing people. I know there's like such a idea that's like online friends aren't real friends. Yes, they are. If people
Shut
bring you
up,
happiness,
Corey.
if people bring you
Never seen that.
happiness, if people bring some sort of optimism in your life, then freak
That's
what
a
other
friend.
people are saying. Just like
Yeah.
whatever validates you and whatever gives you a place to express yourself is good. Just also with the internet at 13,
Yeah.
remember some negativity still exists. Not everything is perfect, so still be cautious of some things that you may stumble across, because there are people that'll still try to hurt you or make you think that what you're going through isn't normal or isn't a part of the human experience. It is. Your feelings are valid, everything you're going through is valid, and you don't have to have everything figured out at 13. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, I need to know everything now. Everything will come to you, and everything happens only
Yeah.
just a matter of time. Chosen family is like one of the most beautiful things I think about queer communities, because we get to choose practically who we spend our lives with, who we love, who we allow in our circles. And I think just slowly you collect them like your little minions that you like
Yeah.
hang around with. So it'll happen. I can't speak necessarily to like the conservative household experience or living in like a rural community that's not necessarily opening or very supportive, but I know that those communities still exist and that those friends will come your way, and it's not always, it gets better, you found it and it does. Like,
That's the name of the organization.
yeah, it gets better.
Yeah.
We're not lying. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as
I
well, oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
obligatory online safety warning. Don't put your
Yeah.
real name or your full birthday or where you live out on the internet ever.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's bad.
Especially if you live in a smaller city, it's not
Yeah.
good.
Especially if you live in a conservative area and you post about being gay. Don't do that either.
Yeah.
That
So they say, where
you
do you
will
live?
get
You say
caught.
USA or just any
Yeah.
other place.
The
I live
closest
in the
I
world,
get,
guys.
because
I live in
my
the
town
world.
Country,
has like
period.
my town has like 3,000 people in it. Closest I get is nowhere, Kentucky. Closest that I get.
Yeah.
Because that'll give you description, but it'll also give you, I live in nowhere, Kentucky. That can be anywhere, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. And I think actually talking about like kind of the online spaces, we actually have another question about in-person spaces. So the next one is about like, is it possible to find queer
Okay.
spaces to socialize in real life
Yes.
that aren't either support groups or nightlife? For example, if gay men are lucky enough to have carved some out somewhere, are there ever also spaces that are woman dominated and trans friendly? One of my local thrift stores is the closest I've ever seen, and as healing as the atmosphere is, it's not exactly a hangout spot.
Question: is there a hip coffee shop with pictures of Andy Warhol near your thrift store? If so, go in there.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think a lot of cafes with the sort of like, I don't know how to say it. It's like hipster aesthetic, but it's not like
Yeah.
2014 Tumblr with the like a turquoise bike rusted in the window or something. That's, a kind of very queer deal where you'll find a lot of that. Spaces that are like, oh, what am I trying to say? Like public spaces, like a
Yeah.
library or something
Libraries
that are
also.
like
Yeah.
funded publicly. Those places are like, people who want to keep libraries open are usually very liberal and like
Yeah.
probably will like you.
Probably.
Unless you're mean. I can't say anything if you're mean. I'm sure you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. I think public spaces, and not only public spaces, like for example, Angelo gave the example of a library. And I think specifically within those public spaces, a lot of the time they have programs. Like for example, some libraries have queer book clubs, depending on where you are. So there are a lot of different programs, or not even formal programs, but just hangout spots, and hangout groups that you can actually join. And a lot of the times, although these aren't online, you can find the invitation online. So, for example, there are a
Get
lot
on
of
them
groups
Facebook
of
groups.
people who, like, I think there's a queer biking hangout group
Oh, yeah.
in the Bay Area or stuff like that. So, I think if you look online for opportunities near you, try to look for things like that, like queer, not necessarily a support group, but just queer friend group, right? Like, there are a lot of very open, inclusive opportunities on social media.
Anything for performing arts, you will likely find one gay person.
Oh, I feel like I could easily be like the theater representative here. Like I go to school for theater, and if it's like if you gave like those little numbers, that's like 1 in 12 people. I feel like if you like divided a group of theater kids, the stereotypes are usually true, and like you will find your people there. It's like it's like Skittles. You get the rainbow fully. Um, yeah. Back to like public spaces though. Definitely, I don't know if this is just LA specific, but it might be a little more globally as well. Just coffee shops in general. Like,
That's true. The gays love their
yes,
coffee.
the
Yeah.
gays
The
love their
kids love
coffee.
iced coffee.
Just
I
scan the
have
room, find
like
someone
The
ordering
amount
iced
of
tea,
what anyone
zone
with
in on them.
iced coffee with any piercing,
oh,
ear
not too
piercing, nose
much.
piercing,
Yeah.
anything.
Yes, like coffee shops, as much as of a stereotype it is, if you find like a tiny little family owns like with like two baristas, one of them has dyed hair,
Yeah.
it's likely a space you're free to go to.
Any
Well, like
colored hair.
any colored
Yeah,
hair,
any
and
colored
it
hair, non-binary
mo-
baristas do it
even
best. Okay.
even if like if you see someone with blue dyed hair at a coffee shop, like you're about to have like a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that will be. Yeah, I'm like such a coffee fiend addict. Like fiend addict, it's practically the same thing, but it's so bad. Like when I was for this summer when I was in New York, I drank over like 60 iced coffees in the month
Oh my
just
gosh.
because I made it my mission just to
Wait,
try all the coffee there. Like, and I found so many people just at those
are
shops.
you
Like the
alive?
people, I was very caffeinated, but it was great because I had so much summer work. So, like, you will find people come to you. Like, generally, like, you don't need to look for them. People will come to you. Like people exist that are great and lovely, and you just connect with people. Like, you don't need to actively search for them. I think the best friendships come from accidents.
Mhm. I think the gaydar is definitely real and it
Yeah.
will work on you.
Yeah, yeah.
It will do your work. Okay. Um, I think the next
Next
question
question.
is an example of the gaydar failing a little bit. Um, if a person accidentally used the incorrect pronouns, what is the most supportive and preferred thing that that person should say in response?
Okay.
Yeah, unless you're doing it like, unless you are doing it like actively maliciously, like "Hey she" or like "Hey it." I had someone do that to me once. I had
So
someone do that to me
stupid.
once. Okay, if you have someone doing that, we're gonna be offended. But I think most like genderqueer people are just gonna be like, "Can you do that right next time?" Like if you
Yeah.
just say sorry, I feel
Yeah.
like that's the general thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, just like apologize, correct yourself. That's really all you need to do. At least in my experience, when I get misgendered, usually like as long as it's not a malicious misgendering, like as long as it's an accident, usually what I find is that I don't necessarily feel angry at the person. I just feel kind of sad because I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not seen as a man. Maybe I just don't present as man. Like I just get like kind of depressed, but I don't get mad at you. So like just apologize, just correct yourself, and please try
Mhm.
not to do it again. Not
Yeah.
because we're going to get angry at you, but because it really does mean a lot to us to
Yeah.
use the pronouns. Like, truly, it means a lot
Mhm.
Yeah.
just to show
It.
us that you think of us as our gender.
And really on that note, I feel like you don't need to be like overtly apologetic either. It makes it so much more
Yeah,
awkward if you're like throughout the day you're like, I'm really sorry by the way, like I'm still
yeah,
thinking about it and I feel really bad. It makes it just like a
yeah,
lot more awkward. It's not that big of a deal if it's genuinely accidental. Like just
Yeah.
apologize, move on with your day. Don't let it happen again. If it's maliciously and you're just like, hey, they or he, ha ha ha. You're like,
yeah,
well, first of all, you're embarrassing yourself. Like,
yeah.
why do you
Yes.
care
Because
that
that's not even
much?
how you use pronouns. Like,
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like there was like such an explosion when people were like confidently being able to express themselves with pronouns, and they're like, I don't even have pronouns. Did you guys not go to first grade? Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
because I is a pronoun, in case you
I is a
haven't
Yes.
noticed.
pronoun. I am speaking. Like, or am I not? It's like imagine everyone just like speaking third person
Like
every day, and they're
Elmo.
like,
Elmo.
it's like
Angelo does
narrating
not
their life.
use
It's like
any
Andrew is
pronouns.
walking down the street. Andrew is speaking.
Andrew sees an evil trans person, and Andrew does not like that.
Oh, let's not say that either. Okay, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. So just
It's not, no.
apologize.
It's
Yeah.
like
Bottom
accidentally
line.
knocking someone with your foot. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, whoops,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
and then
about
you
it.
just
yeah,
you just don't knock them with a foot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just don't do it. We'll
yeah,
just apologize. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Going internal. Next question, because I feel like pretty much just apologize. That's it.
yeah.
Internal from Tumblr. I love Tumblr. Like 2014 Tumblr, don't even.
Tumblr's so
Yeah.
great.
What's the
Tumblr's the
best way?
best.
Oh, this is a really heavy one. But I can speak very much to this. What's the best way to deal with internalized homophobia?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I actually I have multiple points about this. I think first of all, the system of internalized homophobia kind of relies on normalizing, like bringing a primarily heteronormative kind of view of the world, like
Yes.
assuming that straight people are normal, gay people are
Gay
not.
people are nothing.
I would
Yeah.
say the biggest way to get around that, the biggest thing that helps you heal, at least in my opinion, would be just like get queer friends, like interact with queer people on a daily basis. Because the more you normalize to yourself that queer people exist, it is normal, it's not, some choice. The more you just get used to queer people, I think that's part of what helps. The other thing is, I feel like a lot of internalized homophobia is actually not really about attraction so much as mannerisms. Specifically, at
Mm,
least in the gay male, in the kind of like homophobia against men. I would say the main thing is just like acting feminine in any way. Like I've
yes.
seen straight guys who will literally like say, "Oh my God, I love you, bro. I want to marry you, bro," but will say like, "Bro, that's gay if you like wear a pink shirt." So it's like I think
Yeah, that's
accepting that straight men can be feminine and that gay men can be masculine and that femininity and masculinity does not inherently make you a man or a woman is really kind of essential to deconstructing a lot of that system of internalized homophobia.
yeah, you
Mhm.
said that really beautifully, and I can really relate to this one personally, is especially in a more like ethnic Mexican household. I feel like there's a lot of stigma there where you're told almost what's right and what isn't a lot, especially with people who grew up with grandparents, great grandparents, especially with people that grew up, I would say, more traditionally.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the time where I think internalized homophobia stems from. And speaking from experience, a lot of the time it's really just irrational coming from societal expectations still. It's for me personally, I almost felt like I was owing people things, like why am I thinking this way, not necessarily that I'm against it or that I have a problem with the gay experience or lgbt living as an lgbtq person. I feel more as if it's the idea of like putting the what ifs and the potentials in your head of what it could have been if somehow you didn't identify the way that you did.
Yeah.
But really it just comes down to almost having to agree with yourself and having to be able to live with the fact that you can't control who you are as a
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
because it really is. Internalized homophobia is just at the root of it usually just feeling you have to prove yourself in some way, where it's really just making sure that you're happy with yourself and being able to keep your mental health where you want it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not to plagiarize the celluloid closet. Nobody's gonna get that reference, but someone, it was like Richard Dyer or something, said, um, you get your experiences from the culture, and in this culture, a lot of it comes
Yes.
from the movies. And so immersing yourself, I think, with internalized homophobia in things that are just casually gay, which is so dumb. Casually
Casually
gay.
gay.
Yeah, casually gay. You know, keep it straight, like fresh. The things that are not like just about gay people,
Yeah.
but have gay people in them is just like something that it's kind of like exposure therapy. It's like, oh, okay, there's a gay person, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you just kind of start going with it. I think that a lot of normalization can happen just from like seeing something over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I really feel like Jay, especially like when you spoke about mannerisms and how people like
Yeah.
view how people think and just in that way, I feel like it's so silly because I know this one guy personally who he's in like a straight kind of like real bro-ish, like
Yeah.
masculine typical friend group. They had a watch party the other day that they posted on their Instagram story where they all watched Brokeback Mountain together. They're all in very incredibly homophobic, like
Yeah. Yeah.
so against gay marriage, against
Yeah.
gay
Yeah.
people as a whole, and they all posted like little photos of themselves. This was from Halloween. They all dressed as the cast of Brokeback Mountain and like
Oh
took
my
took pictures together, like on each other's necks, like just like fully like Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie. I just saw these on Instagram and all of the comments are like tough, love this bro, but
I know.
they're like this same people at school who will go up to people and just be like, ooh, pink, gay.
Yeah.
You were just
Like pink
fully
is
up on
gay.
You
so
are.
like
No, I know. Like straight men will fully like lie on top of each other
they're like,
and like
yeah.
crazy stuff because it's almost like at least in the kind of male
Mhm.
community, it really feels like it's almost like people's definition of what gay is isn't even actually
It's,
liking men. Like when people
It
say that's
isn't.
gay, they don't
yeah,
mean that's
it's
someone
meaning
who
it's
likes men.
effeminate.
It's
They
It's
it's the
not
mean
phys
that's
it's the
someone
actually
who's
physical
gay.
thing. It's
feminine.
not the
Or
action.
that is someone who does not have enough internalized homophobia to constantly be toxically masculine. Like there's so
It's
many straight guys who are called gay because they are like even remotely feminine. And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
it's like the line between alpha male and gay is like they're like hitting
Such a
both points
fine
at the
line,
same time. It's so weird.
And also, I feel like people aren't even really considered fully masculine unless they possess some kind of feminine trait, but people won't talk about that. Like, if people are just inherently masculine, people would call it performative or like it's not their like a representation of their true character. But if
Yeah.
they like possess some kind of feminine quality, it's like so brushed over.
No, and
So,
I feel
yeah,
like everybody possesses some sort of feminine quality, but the only guys who are considered to be super masculine are the straight guys or the
who
people who
who who
like
like
very
just like
much
fully
present as
lay on
straight,
top of each other.
who are
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who are repressed, even though they are not gay,
Yeah, that's
they feel like they
insanity.
have to perform as straight because
Yes.
the
Yeah, yeah,
expectations
yeah.
of
Mhm.
men is that in order to be seen as
So
super straight, you have to be constantly like bro, like tough. Everybody has some femininity in them, and
Yes.
it's just
yes,
yeah.
everybody has some masculinity in them, but it's
Yeah.
just you don't have to play it up so much if you
Yeah.
don't want to. If you're so happy laying on top of your bro and like chatting on a podcast mic, sure, go for it. But like we can be normal. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can find some sense of normalcy. You don't have to conform to the idea that men are some wild species of like
Yeah.
like I have to act this way because this is
Yeah.
my biology
And
kind of deal.
I have like real firsthand experience with this. Like over the summer at literal NYU theater school, I got like enrolled, enlisted in this little that's like enlisted is like a little metaphor I'm using into this little guy friend group, which I'm usually not a part of. They assumed I was like this fully straight dude, and this one guy and I became like real close friends. And had like this insane homoerotic friendship that was like so crazy. He would just like fully lay on top of me and like hug me as we watched like videos on like scrolling on our phone. Keep in mind, we go to theater school. This is a
Yeah.
theater
Yeah.
school over summer, and he fully is like his whole Spotify rap is like Broadway musicals,
Yeah.
and he's identifying fully straight, like okay, you do you, but he's like fully just like hugging me, doesn't let go of me throughout the
Yeah.
whole summer program, and I'm just like convinced this dude is like totally in love with me, but he just didn't know how I identified throughout the whole program, and I'm like, wow, that just shows how like the culture is like you could totally
Yeah.
be and act certain ways that people would, and I would say inherently is more gay than wearing a pink shirt,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, no,
that just speaks on the culture.
I feel
Yeah.
like
And
it's
That
more
was
to
an
the
actually,
experience.
yeah.
definition of that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
feel like next question. You were a bit on a
yeah.
tangent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of tying into that and like figuring out your identity. How do I know if I'm actually queer or if I'm just confused? And is it okay if my identity keeps changing as I get older?
Yeah.
Yes. Uh it will change. Like sometimes I feel like a lot of figuring yourself out is changing because
Yeah.
you can be wrong. Like being wrong is learning. It's like being wrong is learning about yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Like Jay and I talked about earlier, it's the demi boy to demi girl to non-binary to
Yeah.
trans man. It's like you're always gonna feel a little bit timid, I think, at the
Yeah.
very beginning of your coming out journey because it's not normalized as much yet. So you're always going to have a little bit of change, and that's okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also the like you were kind of asking about well, I'm talking to the person, I guess. In the question, it was really kind of asking about like, oh, I don't know if I'm queer, I don't know if I'm just confused. And I would say to that, like, you may not be queer, you may be queer. But in the end, I think that's why you shouldn't focus on searching labels. You should focus on searching what makes you happy, right? So just
Yeah.
try to see like, oh, what types of gender expression make you happy? Do you like
Mhm.
wearing
Oh.
dresses? Okay, great. Do you like having body hair? Okay, great. Don't worry about which
Mm,
label, like initially,
yeah.
don't worry about which label that necessarily corresponds to. Just do
Just
what makes you
yeah.
feel the most happy. And then afterward, you can try to say, oh, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that.
Mhm.
Because I feel like trying to find a label, stick to it, and then fit into it is the worst possible thing you could do because it kind of
Yes.
forces you to restrict your identity.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally
And
agree with that. Yeah. Sorry, Angela.
the entire like queer expression is about like exploring yourself, finding who you like, finding what you want to like present as. And I think a big part of that is like not listening to what other people think. I feel like there are so many queer micro labels and people will make fun of you for queer micro labels, which I'm a defender. Okay. Go be hyper specific. I love that for you. But like I think that's really like you can't listen to what the label says. You have to listen to what you think. Yeah. That was going to be better, but then it wasn't. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really agreed with what Jay said about like there's no need to put yourself in a box. Like the box can be
mm,
ever changing. It doesn't need to exist in the first place. Like I feel like there's an additional weight put on like finding out if you're queer, finding out this specific part of your identity, whereas there's multiple parts of your identity that constantly change that people don't speak about at all. Like day to day, like first thing that comes to my mind is like you could change your favorite color, you could change your favorite T-shirt that you're wearing, you could favorite movie. People don't necessarily have to think that deeply about it. Being your sexuality, your gender identity, whatever, it's a constant, it's fluid, it doesn't need to stay the same. Whereas it's just a part of who you are, and questioning that is just finding yourself and finding who you are ever changing. So really like just putting this extra weight on it, like really how Jay put it too, it's like finding out if you like body hair, if you want to have like an extra piercing, if you want to have this or that, just finding who you are, like as a human being, as an individual, constantly changing isn't just a part of the queer experience, it's a part of the human experience. Regardless if you're queer or not, you are changing always. Whether you like it or not, you're a different person every day. Yeah. I also got distracted because this dude behind me is like on a rainbow, like LED bike. Like
that's so
crazy.
sick. I think my sister thought about doing that to her bike before she actually like got her bike. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No more bikes.
No
Let me
more
read
bikes.
it.
Next
No more
question.
bikes.
Next
Okay,
question.
this one is more these next two are more like viewer specific problems, like the 13-year-old one.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna read it. So, like, I get a little rush from being androgynous and personally feel fine with wearing more feminine clothes if I can pull it off. But, like, I don't feel attached to either binary at all, really. I was raised somewhat gender neutrally, I feel. But at the same time, do all cis people feel that? Maybe I'm just gaslighting myself into fully accepting the non binary label so I can feel more welcome in queer spaces.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say like, oh, go ahead.
I feel like a lot of people who are against the LGBTQ community just say, someone said this to me, and it's going to be so weird, okay? But somebody said this to me. They said, you're gay like my brother was. He wanted a community, and so he did drugs, and now he's almost died
Oh,
twice.
What?
Right?
that's
It's so
making
So
no
random.
weird. That
sense.
is not, I'm not condoning that. But that's a thing that people will tell you that, like, you're just trying to find people to be with, so you're being gay, and you're just putting it on. But I feel like if you if you want to be, if you're fine with feminine clothes, then that's great. If you're fine with masculine clothes, that's great. Which the weird thing about masculine clothes is women can wear masculine clothes and nobody bats an eye, but like if a guy wears a dress, people flip out. But
I know.
Yeah.
such a weird thing. But like if you are fine with one side and you're fine with the other, then yeah, you can be non-binary. It's whatever you want. And like saying that you're gaslighting yourself is unless you truly didn't feel that way. If you were truly like, well, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I look good like this. But like if you truly do get a little rush, like that's what they said, from being androgynous, then you're probably non-binary and that's completely fine. And you don't have to worry about the fact that you're being too different to find a community.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I would say like it's often easier to figure out how you like to present then figure out how you identify. Like to me, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, for example, there are plenty of people who identify as men or androgynous. There are plenty of people who identify as women and are androgynous, and there are plenty of people who identify as non-binary as androgynous. I would say that the biggest thing is just try to figure out how you like to present, and then you can kind of work back from there. That's what really helped me figure out my
I
gender identity. And I think also the other thing is that like non-binary means you are not part of the binary, right? It literally
mhm,
means you are not a binary man, you are not a binary woman. There is no one right way to be non-binary. It literally just means do not completely identify with either one.
yeah.
And I think in the actual quote it said, but like I don't feel attached to either binary at all, really. Okay, great. So then
Yeah,
you probably
you
aren't
did.
part of the binary. That's all it means.
You
Don't
did
feel
it. Congrats.
pressure to
Yeah.
conform to the non-binary label. What even is the non-binary label? You can be a femme non-binary. You can be a mass non-binary. There is no one gender presentation that you need to conform to
Mhm,
just because you do not fully
Mm-hmm.
identify with one of the binaries.
mhm,
Yes, and I really agree with the idea. There's such an idea that gender correlates to the way you present yourself, where I think that makes no sense
mhm,
because people can wear whatever they want. It doesn't make you less masculine. It doesn't make you less feminine. It doesn't make you anything. Just wear what you want. My only request is make sure it matches. That's it. That's
That's a
it.
good
That's
point.
my little joke with it. Just make sure it's not ugly. But like, if you want to wear a skirt, fine. If you want to wear jeans, fine. Just wear what you want. Feel
Mhm,
confident in it. You do you. Like,
mhm.
Yeah, those
don't
It's
are
like
just
boys
my
wear
discriminate on
nail
anyone.
polish.
Yeah. Wait.
What are they gonna do? Combust? Wear nail polish.
Yes.
I hate
Yes.
nail polish, but I'm a nail polish defender.
And if you wear nail polish, get gel because the other one chips off. Um, that, that's
Good point.
that's the maybe that's the what we wanted this whole
That's the
vibe.
tea.
And that's it. If you're getting your nails painted, ask for gel so they last longer.
Perfect.
Yeah. Jokes aside, let's go to this next one. Another real specific. It says, as a trans lesbian, how can I combat the alienation I feel from the thought that my sexuality isn't always subversive? Because figuring it out only meant disentangling my genuine attraction to women from the heteronormative expectation of such rather than discovering it as a wholesale and life changing moment of clarity. Not like my egg cracking wasn't a life of moment of clarity, but I feel a deep kinship with women, all women who love women, regardless of their assigned genders at birth. And it stings with an extra emphasis on stings to feel like that's a divide.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like as a trans guy, I know a lot of gay trans guys often feel kind of excluded by members of the gay male community. And
Mm-hmm.
I definitely could see the same thing happen with trans women in the Woman Love Woman community. And it's also something definitely I struggled with myself, kind of wondering in the future, like, will people accept me as a trans man? Like, will people who like men like me? And I've just come to the realization that sure, there are always going to be bigots, even in the queer community, even in the
Yes.
lesbian or gay community.
Exactly.
There are
Yes.
somehow transphobes, right? There are still people
Mhm.
who are gay and transphobic, and that is just a fact. But it is also a fact that there are thousands upon thousands of people out there who do see you as just a woman or just a man, like nothing special, just another lesbian, just another gay, just another queer person, you know? Like they are not,
Mhm.
there are definitely people out there who are not going to judge you, and you just have to find them.
Yeah, I think that this kind of you say the dis like you're worried about it being not subversive, you're worried about it being heteronormative. Um, but you don't, like Andrew was talking about once, you don't owe anyone subversion. You don't owe
Yes.
anyone, you don't need to be the next blue hair pronoun gay of the year, okay? You can be whatever you want to be. And I think that's one of the parts of the community that's really beautiful, even though there are bigots who don't want that to happen, is that it's a mix and match. It's a roll the dice kind of deal. Like, that's kind of a bad way to put it, but you can be your combination and there will be people for you. You just have to find them, that kind of deal.
Yeah, Angela, you put that really beautifully too. How I kind of mentioned earlier that you don't owe anyone anything, and I think that really that's one of the main flaws, especially of the male living male community, like the gay community, is on a totally other topic. It's very sexually focused and
Yep.
Mhm.
very driven on just the appeal of sex as a concept, and I
Yep.
feel like that's the reason why so much transphobia exists, especially in
Yep.
just the men community because of how sex is a lot of people's number one thing, and there's specific like genitalia that I think a lot of people, and that's almost what the attraction feels like in a lot of situations, and almost it's disgusting and it's
Yeah.
really flawed. But
Mhm.
that's honestly just the root of it. And like I said, just being you, you'll find someone that still fits all, checks off all those boxes for you, that is a person that is accepting of who you are and sees you for who you are. Um, so yeah, that's really it. It's flawed, it's not ideal, but you find comfort in it eventually. You find who you are, and just you don't owe anyone anything. That's really it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Like there are some people who are going to have genital preferences. There are also some people who are just going to have misconceptions about what trans people are.
Yeah.
For example, like some trans people might have had certain surgeries. Like they people just assume that trans people are kind of like untransitioned. Like I know a lot of people in the gay male
Yeah.
community just assume trans men are like women with short hair, and then they're kind of surprised when they see like
Right.
trans men with who are like buff with abs. But yeah, I think definitely. Um, I think it's the same way in the woman love woman community as well. Like there are going to be people with genital preferences, but that doesn't mean everyone has those preferences.
Yeah.
That doesn't
It's not
mean
limited.
Mhm.
everyone is completely not open to dating a trans person. Like there are definitely people out there. You just have to search for them. So don't settle for someone who like doesn't truly see you as you are.
Yes, 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 yes. Your
Yes,
person
yes,
is there.
yeah.
Whoever.
You will, everybody will eventually find somebody at some point, whether that's a platonic relationship or a
Yeah, that's what I
romantic.
was gonna say right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not everyone wants a romantic relationship, and those platonic relationships are just as equally important. Like, just finding
Hmm.
somebody or some outlet that allows you to express yourself and allows you to be who you are as an individual
Hmm.
is just as equally important. Whether it's platonic or romantic, just that expression alone is just beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande moment, I know.
yeah. We're
Um,
holding space for them.
we're holding
I'm
space.
holding space, guys. Wicked for Good was great. Anyways, off topic.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Uh,
All right.
next question.
Looks like the next one is what's it like to know who you are and to be proud of it so young? How do you reconcile your queerness with the profound vulnerability and lack of autonomy? And what kind of future do you feel like you have?
Damn.
uh, oh, they really took the youth
Oh,
part of it into
yeah.
consideration. Oh,
We got a poet over here. Like that's poetic. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
I feel free to start this one. I feel like there's finding your labels and who you are so young and feeling confident in it is one thing, but it's not always a constant. Like there's some days that I still question who I am, and there's some days that I still don't feel fully confident in who I am, and it fluctuates. And I feel like that's part of the reason why I could be so proud of it, is because I feel so confident to the point now that I don't feel like I need to contain myself in a box. And I feel like, specifically going verbatim word for word, how do you reconcile your queerness with the profound vulnerability and lack of autonomy? The vulnerability is being able to express my identity and speak of how I feel and my emotions. So the root of it, me being able to be proud of it, is to be able to still question it and still be
Yeah.
able to feel and not feel confined to something that I have like in bold letters, like I need to be this.
Yeah.
Which I feel like amateurly, like at the beginning of a lot of people's journeys trying to find themselves, there's such like a thick box that's like you have to stay in it. Once you start to like grow out of that, that's really when you start to get that confidence in your identity. So like leading to the segue of what kind of future do you feel like you have? What, aside from career, just my future as a queer person and my future as myself, I just hope to be able to continue to be able to question how I feel and to acknowledge that my life is a constant and my life isn't always going to be how I feel. And for 5 years from now, I'm not going to feel the same 16 as I am as like a junior, senior in college as I am right now as a junior in high school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I perfectly
mhm.
said. And I think as well, like, I totally agree about questioning your identity. Like queer identity is a journey. Like even now, I've been out for years now, and even now, sometimes I'm wondering, maybe I do like women. Maybe I was just scared of female bodies because I hadn't really transitioned. Like you never
Mm,
really know. Like it's all a journey. Like I, as a queer person, but as a queer youth specifically, feel the freedom to redefine who I am and consistently like update who I am based on what I've realized about myself. And I think realizing it's a
Mm,
journey was really helpful for me, as well. Like being out from the beginning and never having to hide my identity, that really helped. And that is a privilege I know a lot of queer people just don't have. But it really was really
mm,
helpful because it helped me feel a lot more confident in who I am. And it helped me kind of avoid a lot of internalizing a lot of homophobic behaviors. It kind of allowed me to, talk openly about my queer identity and allowed me to be an activist more openly. And I think kind of segueing into the next part of the question, which was like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the profound vulnerability and lack of autonomy? I absolutely agree. That was exactly what I felt like when I first came out. And to me, I love to do something. Like when something bothers me, I want
Yes.
to do something. And that is why I'm an activist because this is my way to actually enact meaningful change. This is my way to do something about what's happening. Because, as a trans kid looking at the news every day, it's like another thing and another thing. I'm just like, oh my God, like, am I going to lose my healthcare? Am I going to lose my ability to play sports? Like, to me, being able to
mm,
do something about it, that is how I really cope.
mm. I think with the specific part about the lack of autonomy, as a child in general, there is like lack of autonomy that I've experienced, especially as in a place that doesn't have a lot of resources for the sort of things that I'd like to do. Like we don't have any there's not like a big theater or anything, and that's like one form of autonomy, but the other form of autonomy is like what you are and like your access to things like healthcare. You have the ability to do that, Jay. But if I did, I'd have to like drive 2 states and I'd also have to get my parents on board with it. And like, not to say my parents are not accepting, but I think if I came up to my parents and was like, I want to start HRT, hormone replacement therapy, sorry, I would get some very weird looks and some very, are you sures? And I think that's a big part about the question of being queer and your autonomy as a child, because as much as you would love to explore every option and like every route and have a binder and like all
Yeah.
this stuff, it's hard to do when you really don't have any income or when your parents are the one who's controlling everything
Yeah.
about you. And I think that we're all very lucky to have parents that will, in some way, find the things we need. Like, hold on, I'm gonna go grab a prop. My mother gave me her hysterectomy binder for her stomach when I asked her for a binder. And like, this is fun and great and cool. I'm gonna give you all a demonstration. But like, I know a lot of trans people whose mothers didn't have hysterectomies.
Yeah.
Kind of a lucky situation here. And this is not exactly ideal because this part flaps
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big part of lack of autonomy, and that's pushing people away from their identities because they're scared they're not going to be able to fully fulfill them.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But I'm going to use the name of the company, guys. Hold your horses. It gets better in the way that you can, once you're finally out proud and old enough to like cover your own expenses and make your own things, that, a lot of people are waiting for that day, which is actually the last question. So I'm just going to start it now. Oh my God. Perfect segue. Except for the part that I mentioned it, so I ruined it. Okay. I'm gonna read it. I've already seen firsthand that it does in fact get better, but what does the timescale look for it actually getting good? I don't even count as youth. I'm literally 23 and I'm coming up on my 1 year HRT anniversary next month. But everything aspirational feels so distant, and I can't imagine it's any less crushing for teenagers with even less freedom to self-actualize and not a single thing they can do about it but wait and wait and wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Yeah.
main things is for me, like hope. It was talking about wait and wait and wait. And yes, I'm waiting, but there are little things I can do in the meantime and just constantly remind myself that, one day we can keep going. One day we can eventually reach those goals. For example, like in transition, the person gave the example of transition. Like, yeah, just 1 year into HRT right now, but eventually you're going to be 2 years and then 3 years and then four. Keeping track of those tiny milestones was something that's really useful to me. And just doing small little things that make me happy, that give me gender euphoria. Like for me, I love to work out. I love to do activism. I love to watch other people's transitions for inspiration. Some trans people, especially trans femmes, they love to go to vocal therapy. Just finding those small things that you can do right now to give you euphoria um, before you know what the time will have passed.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, just holding on to that hope and not letting it go.
Yeah, I think that getting good has to deal a lot with also the big looming problem of legislation and what the entire rest of the world thinks of you and all what that has to do. But I think it goes back to the idea of finding your own peace and finding what's within you
Yeah.
because like yes, there are a lot of attacks on us right now, and yes, that is scary because a lot of things are being held at stake right now that we don't really need to be held at stake. So but I feel like it's those little wins you do have to celebrate, like what you were saying, where there's always another step you can take even though it might look like there's not.
Yeah.
There's always another move. You're not in checkmate. Like
Exactly.
we have always evolved and found new ways to identify ourselves and found new ways to create community. And I think that's one of the best things about being in a community like this is that we always will, and that there's not us, we're not going to lay down because we are people, we are famously glittering and being gay. So like you will find something good. Obviously, you didn't explain anything other than just being on HRT, but you will find someone who loves you and that will help you love yourself. You will find the world in a community of kindness and it will help you love yourself. And I think it gets better and it gets good is a different timeline for everyone regardless of legality status because it's about you finding who you are and coming to terms with that and accepting that as a great positive thing, which it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
Mhm.
what you talked about it gets better versus it gets good. I think that's a really important distinction to make because the point of it gets better is really that there is always some small thing you can do to make it get better. It will always keep getting better. There is no good. When do you define good? You can't focus on just when it is good and when it is bad. You have to focus on your progress. For transition, just focus on that one little thing that's getting slowly better and better and better. Because the queer community has always existed. It will always will exist. We have gone through so many worse times than this, and we will continue to get through this as well. And with
Yeah,
that,
I had a
go ahead.
little something. Sorry, I'm like speaking out of the abyss now because I had to move where I was, so my camera's not on.
Mhm.
Um, but I just wanted to like piggyback off of what both of you said that humans, not just queer people, like not just queer people specifically, humans, just as a species, constantly changing, constantly evolving, and just being able to navigate that journey yourself, not through any labels, not through just as you, is just like the most integral thing to figuring yourself out and your identity as a collective and a whole. You find yourself not by searching for it, you find it by it coming to you.
Mm-hmm. Know what else is coming to us? The holiday season and the end
Yes.
of this stream. Oh, not the stream. Sorry, the stream's not ending. The end of this Q&A panel. Um, so yeah, that's all of our questions. Happy holidays with whatever you celebrate. I hope you eat good food because I hope all holidays eat food at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, man, enjoy the rest of the stream, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.